Welcome, friends, it's the MovieFilm Podcast. MovieFilm Podcast, enjoy the show. Zaki and Brian are talking about movies. MovieFilm Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to MovieFilm. This is episode 94, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. My name is Zaki Hassan, and with me is my best pal, Brian Hall.
Hey, what's up, Zaki?
Brian, we're late.
We are, and I'm getting worried.
I have to say, we maintain a pretty strict regimen. This week, we got hit with a little bit of bad luck because our adulting got in the way of our playtime.
Touché.
That's what happened to me. I had to grade papers.
Yeah, and I had to have dinners and meet with people. Super adulty.
Yeah. I'm disappointed in the both of us, frankly.
Yeah, me too. I mean, sorry. I apologize. Anybody who's still listening to us on their drive on Wednesday, apologies.
Whoops.
Yeah.
But that's okay because we got plenty of stuff to talk about.
Exactly. I was going to say we're here now.
Well, Brian, what is new? What's new in your life?
Well, I had a really interesting experience this past weekend. As you are probably aware, it was Free Comic Book Day, right? Do you ever participate in Free Comic Book Day?
So it turns out Free Comic Book Day, the free only applies to certain comics.
This is true. Why? Is there a story here? Did you?
No, it's just it's good to know because they look at you funny when you just start putting stuff under your shirt.
Yeah, well, this was an event I'd been aware of. I have a comic book shop walking distance from my house, so that I'd go over there. It's like I think it's the first Saturday in May every year, and yeah, certain comics will put out special issues. Usually, it's like issue number 1, so you can sort of get started on something, and they hope you'll pick it up and keep going with it. And I had the unique experience this year of actually being a part of Free Comic Book Day because of my writing with the Bob's Burgers comic book. So I was invited. What's that?
Pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I go every year and I pick up a handful of comics and whatnot. And so this year it was really surreal to be invited to participate. And I went to Meltdown Comics down in Hollywood on Sunset. And me and another writer, Justin Hook, and some artists, Ryan Matos, Derek Schroeder, Tom Connor. These are all people who work for the Bob's Burgers television show. But we also, the comic book is done completely by in-house TV people. So that's why it's a really cool thing and really authentic to the show. And so we were there and, you always wonder what that's sort of going to be like. You're sitting at a table and you're like, does anyone want me to devalue their comic by scribbling all my name on it? But sure enough, I mean, it was really a really cool experience. People showed up and they were fans of the show, of course, but I was, surprised. Some people are like, I love the show, but I got to tell you, like, I'm a fan of the comic book and had some great conversations and it was a really cool experience I never thought I would have. So really, really dug that.
You finally arrived, Brian.
Yeah, it was fun. And it's fun, with my friends and coworkers by my side, getting to do that as like a sort of fun, cool side extracurricular thing. It was a really interesting experience. So,
see, we need to do some kind of a raffle or something to incentivize listeners of the show. Like if you leave a review on iTunes, Brian will send you a signed comic, something.
Sure. I mean, if anyone would be into that, yeah, absolutely.
We should do that. Folks, leave, I mean, we have a lot of people leave reviews anyway, but we want more. We always want more.
Wanting more.
So I am pimping Brian out to you. If you leave us one review, he'll send you a signed comic. If you get somebody, if you can pay it forward and get people to leave us like 5 reviews, Brian will come to your house and write a comic in your den.
Yeah.
That's my promise to you.
I'm like, I don't know. And then the dog went to the store and they're like, not good enough. I have to vacuum and do all these like chores.
Come on, folks.
For the reviews.
The rewards keep building up. This is like crowdfunding, incentives here.
Well, I did see one movie I've been pretty busy lately, but I made this is kind of a funny story, actually. I guess this is worth telling. So, my friends at work were all avid movie watchers, and this one girl I work with, she's really intent on just catching up on everything. I mean, she's interested in all years, all decades, all genres and whatnot. And she was like, I want to see Under Siege. And I was like Under Siege.
Like 1992's Under Siege?
Yeah, Steven Seagal. And I was like, you know what? Funny enough, I worked at the company that made that, and they gave me a copy, and I have it. And I brought it in. And she goes, oh, no, sorry. The Siege with Denzel Washington. I was like, oh, okay. So I just had my Under Siege DVD just sort of sitting out. It had been, in a closet somewhere. So it was sitting on my table for a while, and I had nothing going on one night. And I was like, I've never seen Under Siege. So
like never? Wait, you've
never seen it. And I realized that Andrew Davis directed it, who made The Fugitive, which people know is one of yours and mine's favorite movies. So I was like, how have I not seen this? Tommy Lee Jones is in this thing? Like,
yeah, really?
So I popped it in, and as someone who has never seen this movie and had no idea what to expect, it was really interesting. Very, very interesting. It clearly was made by a good action director. It clearly had a villain straight out of the 90s. This like Tommy Lee Jones, rock and roll. I'm a bad guy, but I'm kind of hip, and I talk about cartoon characters kind of a thing. And it had Steven Seagal, who I'll never understand why people put in movies.
Yeah, it's funny that you say it, because like when people ask me what I think of Under Siege, I say it's a good movie despite Steven Seagal.
Exactly that.
Because he's like a black hole at the center of that movie.
That he absolutely is. And it's funny because, I mean, people might be like, oh, come on. It's like, yeah, I know. It's a Steven Seagal movie. Like, I get it. But at the same time, it's so funny watching him act as this sort of like cool, beloved chef that everybody respects on this submarine. And then like, there'll be like the one African-American guy, and he's like, come on, dance, man. Let's see your moves. And the guy, kind of does his dance. He's like, all right. And it's supposed to be like he's the ringleader of all these people, making them do fun, cool stuff, when clearly they're like, he's the awkward guy they tolerate. Like, it's just like, it's just so awkward. And then, yeah, he has got is it Christy Swanson? Is that her name?
Erica Leniak.
Christy Swanson. That's the girl from Ferris Bueller. I watched Ferris Bueller recently. That's why I was thinking that. Yeah. Erica Leniak plays the stripper sidekick, and they have 100% zero chemistry, yet they kiss in the last scene anyway. It's got it all.
Yeah, so. I mean, watching them together is like seeing a block of cheese try to act with a spare bicycle tire. Like, you're just like, these two things should not even be together.
Directed by the guy who made The Fugitive.
Yeah.
I mean, the action's great. It's like. I don't. If anyone's wondering, should they check it out? I would go with no, but I did. I have a hard time watching movies that I feel like are wasting my time, and somehow I was like, I don't know. I didn't hate it, but I definitely would recommend it.
It's. I mean, I haven't seen it. I mean, since the 90s, right?
Right.
So,
right.
But I mean, I remember enjoying it despite Steven Seagal. I never understood the Steven Seagal phenomenon, the brief collective head wound that society went through where he was a star.
Well, was it like he was under the tutelage of Bruce Lee or Bruce Lee's master, or was that Chuck Norris? Chuck Norris too. We're going to fall down a rabbit hole where we dissect these white guy martial artists who. Well, I was going to say, I feel like if he has some sort of disparate connection to some sort of legend, I can see where it's like, oh, okay. And then you give him his one movie and then, whatever. But yeah, this is like a fairly legit action movie that unfortunately has Steven Seagal in it. So that's what's kind of interesting about it.
Well, I think Under Siege is about as legit as he ever got. Like that's
for sure.
That's the pinnacle of his legit-dom.
Yeah, and I didn't really mean to turn this into like a trash session on Steven Seagal. It just happened to go that way.
That guy. He knows what he did.
Well, and it's interesting because I think I was going through the commentary a little bit. Is that where it was? No, it was. Okay, This is another story. I loaned The Fugitive out to a coworker who had never seen it.
Okay.
And I had it out about to give it to her. And I was just listening to the commentary one night before I went to bed, just out of curiosity, because I never listened to it. And he's talking about how he got. Yeah. Oh, great. It's really good. I actually wasn't ready to hand it over because I didn't finish it. But anyway, he talks about getting Harrison Ford on board. And it was by showing him Under Siege. And I was like, after I saw Under Siege, I was like, Harrison Ford has a wonderful imagination.
Well, I mean, to be fair, some of the people who've directed Harrison Ford movies, I mean, he has to sign off on everybody, I'm assuming. And,
For sure.
Not all have been,
Yeah. And that's no slam against Andrew Davis, because I think he directed the hell out of The Fugitive. So.
The Fugitive is just this piece of perfect alchemy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which we will one day talk through, Brian. What do you think? We should.
That commentary was fascinating, and I feel like I could easily talk through that movie.
We could do a better job of it than the director of the film.
Oh,
I'm throwing the gauntlet down, Andrew Davis. You know what you did.
You know what you did.
He did Holes. That was Andrew Davis.
I liked Holes.
What? Speaking of Holes, I saw a movie called Wiener.
Bravo.
That is the perfect. I'm actually vanishing. I'm a Force ghost now after that transition.
Yeah.
So Brian, I saw this is a documentary. It is called Wiener.
Uh-huh.
It is not about peni or things of that nature. Well, I guess it is actually, now that I think about it. It's about a former congressman named Anthony Weiner. Are you familiar with him?
I am.
Now, Anthony Weiner is known as the guy who got in trouble because he took a picture of his wiener.
Yes, I remember that.
I mean, if you are if your name is Wiener, don't let that be the source of your downfall. You're like a Greek myth at that point,
I bet he was sort of a turning point for people like him who are in like high powered positions. And, I don't remember a huge photo scandal for someone of his ilk much really before that.
Yeah.
Right. Like these politicians sort of like having people leak their dick pics and things like that. You know what I mean? Like, I think people might have learned from him a little bit.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? I don't know. Does it cover that, or what's this?
Doesn't dick pics sound like a 1950s Private Eye?
It does. Yeah.
I'm Dick Pics. P.I.
Yeah. Or are they going to say like, it's another dick pic starring Spencer Tracy?
That too. That works.
Yeah.
This is a documentary, and I actually had a chance to interview the filmmakers about it, and we can play some of that in just a second. But
sure.
The film is about the mayoral race that Anthony Weiner ran in, where he essentially tried to mount a comeback.
Mm-hmm.
And what ensued was just a catastrophic mess, because he was like, I haven't been twittering and doing any of that. And then it turns out that between the time that he got drummed out the first time and the time he got back into the race, he had in fact been doing more of that.
Yeah, I kind of remember that.
Yeah, and it was just a colossal mess. And I got to be honest, this is seriously one of my favorite movies of the year so far.
Wow.
I think it's just amazingly compelling. And part of what makes it so compelling is that the directors are Elise Steinberg and Josh Kriegman. And Josh Kriegman was actually Weiner's chief of staff at one point.
Interesting.
So he was a friend who managed to get a sort of unparalleled access. So this documentary was mounted at a time where it was going to be, here's his triumphant comeback. And then during the course of making it, it turned into his catastrophic downfall again.
Is he involved in any way in this, or is it?
He's involved in the sense that he's interviewed on camera, and he's kind of like okay with it in the sense. I mean, it's the final. The film, this isn't a spoiler, it ends with, obviously we know what happens to Anthony Weiner, and we have Josh Kriegman off camera who's filming Anthony Weiner, who's just, his eyes are downcast, his entire world has collapsed around him, and he asks, why did you let us film this?
Interesting.
and he gives an answer, and it's really quite fascinating. So let's go ahead and play my interview with Josh and Elise. I think, like I said, I really enjoyed the film, and I think you'll enjoy what they have to say about it.
So, as we get started, I was wondering if you could explain your personal connection with Anthony Weiner.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I actually met Anthony while working for him in politics. I worked as his chief of staff for a couple of years when he was in Congress. Years before this sexting scandal and his resignation, I was working for him, got to know him well through that. And then I left politics and started working in filmmaking with Elise. And when he resigned from Congress after his scandal, we started a conversation with him that went on over actually a couple of years of seeing if he might be willing to let us make a documentary and tell his story. Sure. And it actually seemed like he maybe wasn't going to go for it after a lot of back and forth as he was gearing up to run for mayor. Right. But then on the morning that he announced he was running for mayor, he sent me a text saying, all right, if you want to come with a camera, I'm at home with my staff all day. Obviously the campaign had begun, and I, of course, said, I'll be right over. Sure. And that was the way that the filming began. So we started filming on the day that he announced he was running, all the way through to the end of the election.
So, and you've talked about this before, but the intent was not, I mean, you could not have anticipated what was going to happen. This was going to be essentially, potentially Anthony Weiner's triumphant return.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, I think, we began, one of our intentions with this film was that after Anthony's sexting scandal, he was reduced to a caricature and a punchline. And our hope with this film was to show a more complex, nuanced portrait of a person who had been reduced to a headline and a soundbite and a tweet, to really just show him in all his complexity. And that intention stayed actually throughout the entire film. So our intention and from the beginning was to show a person who had been reduced to a punchline. But we obviously thought this could be a major political comeback. And at some point it really seemed like it was. I mean, he was at the top of the polls. Right. And a lot of people were very excited about him, and there was a lot of energy in the campaign. We had no way of knowing what would happen, and of course things took an unexpected turn. Yeah. But as I was saying, the intention stayed the same throughout. Like, the story changed, but the intention actually, and even increased as you saw the disparity of what the judgment was and what was really happening.
I mean, it's, when I think, before I watched the film, I was kind of composing my own memories of Anthony Weiner, and what comes to mind in terms of him as a politician is, no, I will not yield the floor, and the 9/11 responders thing. And I thought it was so apropos that that's what you start the film as, because when we look at his career, it's 11 years, it's 12 years of being that. Yeah. And then it's this indiscretion, and it's just amazing how, I was just thinking about this linkage between public life and private life, and how social media has it's become the fly in the ointment in that sense. And I mean, what did you learn about that? Like, how has politics changed, and is he a reflection of that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think that this question about, is there a private sphere in public life anymore is a good one, and I don't know. Obviously there's a lot of opinions about that. I mean, I don't know that we certainly didn't set out to try to answer that, or whether that's a good or a bad thing. But it is definitely it's definitely a good question.
But I think, what you picked up on is exactly right. There was this public story, and then there was what was really happening. And that was what was exciting about us, and what we tried to do stylistically in the construction of the film, is to show the sound bites and the headlines and the news that played out of the events, and then to show inside what was really happening. Yeah. The quiet moments with Anthony at his home, in the car with his wife, just regular life, going about his day amidst a media firestorm. Yeah. I think I've said this before, but we see these scandals play out all the time, but it's rare to get the opportunity to be in the room while it happens.
And you asked a question about politics. Yes. And I think that this is another sort of key aspect of our intention with the film is we hope that the film really does go beyond just this one story about Anthony and about this campaign, and actually does sort of raise some questions about what our politics has really become, in the sense of how much our political conversation today is really driven by spectacle, right? So you watch that play out, of course, in Anthony's mayoral campaign, where he desperately wants to talk about something else, his issues and his policies, but he can't get past talking about the scandal. And we see that also playing out, I think, in our presidential campaign today, where, I think no one exploits the media and even, the voters' appetites for spectacle more than, say, Donald Trump does. And so I think this front row seat, sort of seeing how that works, how that happens, is relevant, and we hope it is relevant to today's conversation.
I mean, I think it's very relevant in the sense that, and it's in the film, right, where Anthony is reading, like, the op-ed is like, let's talk about what he didn't do, and he didn't do this, and it's like, big picture terms. This is not something that's unique to him, as you mentioned. I mean, this is something, unfortunately, we've come to expect from many of our public figures, not just politicians. Why do you think he got hoisted on his petard to such an extent where he did, as you say, become this caricature?
That's a good question, and I don't know that we know exactly the answer. He made a point of kind of not comparing his scandals to others, but to just sort of acknowledge, like, it is what it is, and I'll let voters judge it however they choose that they need to or want to, or whatever they deem appropriate. One of the things that does, I think, set his scandal apart in some ways is the sexting aspect of it, right? And
it's a little titillating, and that plays to the cheap seats too. And
it's also I think, especially for, this is less true even today than it was then, but increasingly less true. I think that for older voters, the idea of sexting on the face of it just seems, it's not only wrong in the same way that cheating and prostitution is obviously wrong.
Sure.
But I think for a lot of people, it sort of crosses the line into deviant. Sure. Right? It's not a standard part of sexual expression that people are familiar with. I'm not sure that will be true in 5 or 10 years from now, and I think a lot of younger people have a different judgment of it. But I think that is part of what made it, in some ways, more interesting,
So when the second sexting scandal breaks, at what point do you, as filmmakers, suddenly realize our entire trajectory is now changing for what the story we were going to tell?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it was
right away.
Immediately. It was, in the same way that everybody in the campaign was like had that same reaction, like, oh, okay, like, this is happening now, and we don't know, The point at which the scandal broke, the campaign could not have been going better, I think it's fair to say. Right? And a lot of people, as Elise was saying, were surprised. He was really defying expectations. Obviously, he was excited. The campaign staff was excited. And I think we were excited about that story as well. So then, as soon as that changed, we were like, obviously, as filmmakers, we wanted to stay with the story, but we knew right away, like, oh, this is turning out to be maybe a different story.
Yeah.
Well, how did you balance being a documentarian and being Anthony's friend? I mean, was there a moment where you're like, you know what, we shouldn't be doing this anymore?
Well, I really let him decide if there were boundaries. If he decided he wanted me to turn off the camera, of course I respected that. Sure. And that was certainly a ground rule that we had throughout filming, and there you see it.
And we see it reflected
in the film itself. But this is one of those tricky aspects to documentary filmmaking, where if you're spending a lot of time with anyone, you often have a relationship with them. This is true just more broadly in journalism generally, I think, and there is a balance, and it's you have to on one hand be very much obviously in tune and in touch with what's happening, or you just naturally are. Obviously I know Anthony well, and it was at times a very intense experience. At the same time, I'm operating a camera and have a job to do as a documentarian in that environment. You need to keep the camera in focus, keep it on. It's like, so there's a kind of remove that I think you wrestle with throughout the process.
So, and maybe this is just a question you can't answer, but the question that you asked him at the end: why did you let us film this?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, why did he?
Well, I think, as you can see, that was a question that we wondered about ourselves and talked about, and it was a question that we posed in the film. And Anthony does give us an answer at the end when he says, "I wanted to be viewed as the full person that I was, and not as a punchline."
Right.
And as I said before, that was our intention, and I think that was really a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting for me because when you the early part of the film where you have the montage showing all of the people, you have Stephanie Miller and Cenk Uygur is there, and they're all really like, this guy's great, and I remember being right there. I remember cheering him on when he would just stand his ground, and so that process that happened, I remember being, riding the waves essentially of public sentiment, and I remember seeing, like, for me, the moment when I realized it was over for him as being who he had been was when Jon Stewart kind of was like, because Jon Stewart was defending him initially, and so I mean, what was that like for him for that the chance to reclaim it and then seeing it slip away again? Because we see it reflected on his face, but what was it for you, like just being on the ground and seeing him express whatever it is?
There was a point where I thought, I mean, the reaction was so intense and really pretty uniform across the board. People were just really, criticizing him. There was a point where I really thought that he probably was going to stop. He's probably going to drop out. Or just sort of wondering, like, how can he continue, on this campaign when, so many pundits and, every newspaper is really just calling on him to give up. And it was really kind of remarkable to see him refuse. And I think, there's that scene in City Island, I don't know if you remember, where, he turns this crowd, which starts out sort of negative and hostile, he wins them over. And there's a sense, I think, for some people, watching him continue to campaign through all of that seemed just hard to relate to and a little bit, narcissistic. Yeah. But I think that there's another way in which actually it was quite admirable, or there's an admirable quality to it, I should say, right? And it's, I think it was sincere when he stood up there and he said, "I'm not going to disappear because you found out something embarrassing about me. Like, I'm actually talking about things and fighting for things that I believe in. And if I lose, I lose. But this is important to me, Yeah. I think it was obviously a really, in some ways, a really negative and intense experience for him to be in the middle of all that. But it was, from my perspective, really kind of remarkable to watch him persevere. Yeah.
Well, and I know he's I believe he was at Sundance talking about. He was not. Okay, yeah. So I misheard that, but I'm curious. I mean, what his intentions for the documentary notwithstanding? I mean, what does he think about this document and what it represents?
It's interesting. He hasn't actually seen it yet.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So is he
intending on seeing it?
I don't know. We offered to show it to him a number of times many months ago, actually, before it was even totally finished. And he didn't want to see it, and he hasn't wanted to see it yet. But I'm sure he will at some point, sure. and I'm frankly looking forward to seeing what he thinks.
Yeah. Well, and what do you hope public figures take away from this? Because I feel like this is the definitive statement of this kind. I mean, I think, like I was just telling my colleagues out there, I'm going to screen this in my media classes because I think it's essential viewing. And I truly believe that. What do you hope politicians and public figures would take away from a documentary like this?
I mean, I think what we're hoping is for not politicians, but the public, but us to take away. I mean, I think it's really a window of what it means to be a politician today in our current 24-hour social media crazy culture. And what, it's so funny, it was obviously we made this about 3 years ago, but it's so relevant right now.
It feels more relevant than ever.
Than ever. I mean, we didn't time that. We didn't know. But I mean, if you can see, I mean, Josh was talking about with Trump and how he's able to win votes and get attention, and how he's able to use those skills. I mean,
he's the social media candidate.
Yeah, exactly. He's the social media. And Anthony also understood about getting attention. I mean, he knew about being brash. I mean, while I think they're completely different on the opposite sides politically and personally, I think he did understand, and you can see that in his rise. He understood the about being brash on television and having an air of authenticity, and that got a lot of attention. And what gets attention is putting on a show and spectacle, and how we like that as well. And so, and how that becomes the definition of the conversation right now in our political discourse. And so and the best comments that we've gotten, and even from journalists, is this like, oh, it's talking about me. And it's talking about us and our interest in the salacious, and we're all there. We're all a part of it. So our hope is that this film can be very relevant to what we're seeing right now in the presidential race.
Yeah, I mean, just as I think in terms of giving us this fascinating portrait of this person, I think the layers, and I think for me, the moment that really summed up his flawed but admirable characters at the very end, where he's like, "Oh man, just go home." Mm-hmm. And I thought, that there was just, I mean, if you're writing a script, like that's your way of redeeming your flawed hero. Mm-hmm. I don't know, and so
a lot of people have seen that. That there is a profound sort of element of redemption, I think, in that moment. Certainly, yeah.
Do you think there's another act for Anthony Weiner?
I don't know. It's the way that American politics works these days, or doesn't work. It's hard to predict anything anymore, I think. He's still a pundit with some regularity, and I think it sort of remains to be seen. I mean, he's for all of his flaws, he has extraordinary talents. Yeah. And who knows if there's still a place for him in public life.
So that's Weiner, and that's going to be out a week from the day this episode drops. It's going to be out on May 20th. So definitely, it's going to have a limited run in theaters, and it's going to be on Showtime. And I mean, again, I can't recommend it enough. Honestly, one of my favorite movies of the year so far.
Wow. Well, that's enough. That's enough for me to want to check it out.
Jungle Book and Weiner. Very interesting list of favorites so far this year.
Yeah.
But that's not the only new release I've seen. I also saw Money Monster.
Money Monster. Now that sounds scary.
It's about the new character on Sesame Street.
Uh-huh.
He's Cookie Monster's cousin.
He's made of money.
Yeah.
And then people keep taking a bill until there's no monster left.
There's just two googly eyes.
The giving money monster. Yeah.
So this is directed by Jodie Foster. It stars George Clooney and Julia Roberts. Uh-huh. And it is meant to be a critique of sort of the corrupt financial system in Wall Street. And it reminded me a lot of Mad City. Do you remember that movie?
No.
With John Travolta and Dustin Hoffman.
I remember it. I never saw it.
Yeah, I saw it, but I couldn't really tell you what it's about. And it's meant to be one of these like righteous indignation, damn the system kind of movies. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it's just kind of there. It didn't really do much of anything for me.
See, that's interesting because when I saw the trailer for that, I had this thought. Have you seen this SNL sketch? It's a recurring sketch where it's these high schoolers putting on this socially progressive play. And it's sort of like this weird postmodern, like there's weird music, and then all of a sudden they'll stop and they'll be like, it's hard to explain, but they'll say like really on the nose, socially, what they think is socially conscious sort of stuff that's like so obvious and stupid and sort of like silly. And then it always cuts to the parents in the audience going like, I hope they don't feel like they're teaching us something. And that's exactly how I felt when I saw the trailer for this movie. I was
You're not wrong.
yeah, I was like, this is kind of embarrassing. I hope they don't think they're teaching me something here.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Because I mean, we got The Big Short last year,
Right.
which I think does teach us something. And it's very compelling, and it makes you angry, and it really winds you up in a way that's interesting, and it does something interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And what irked me about this isn't trying to be that. This is basically it's a very boilerplate kind of thriller where you're meant to sort of toss tomatoes at the bad guys and then feel good about the resolution. You know, it's like Dominic West doing his like smarmy American as like the CEO of this company is like, it's not my fault. And, you know, like just so that like the average, like the middle class people in the audience can be like, ooh, I hate that guy.
Right. Personify like a larger problem.
Yeah. And then wrap a bow around it and be like, look, we solved that, you know?
Yeah.
So it didn't really do anything for me. I will say, as per usual, George Clooney, I mean, he is just, I enjoy watching George Clooney. He's better than the movie. But yeah, you know, it's very forgettable. Like it's like I can see people enjoying it on Netflix. It's not, while you watch it, it mostly keeps you engaged, but you basically forget about it once it's done.
Yeah.
So a little bit disappointing. And then the next film I saw, which I won't get into too much because I have a feeling we'll want to talk about this more after you've had a chance to see it. But Fox screened X-Men Apocalypse for critics about 3 weeks earlier than its release. And they not only did that, they lifted the embargo for reviews at the same time they screened it, which is pretty much unheard of. And I don't know what the rationale behind that was. I went into my screening assuming, well, they must be just as confident as possible. They have big brass ones dangling down there because this is how confident they are. Yeah. And it is a not fantastic movie.
So I read your review. I've read other people's reviews. But my question is, do you see what you think Fox saw? Like, what were they thinking?
I really don't know because I've been just in the time that I've been attending press screenings, this is like my third X-Men movie. And, you know, it's usually screened for us earlier in the week. So it comes out on Thursday, Friday. We'll usually see it on Monday, which is like fine, you know?
See, and that's just it. That's what my thinking is, because it's like, yeah, if you're going to put out the week of or whatever you're going to do, but to give it like a 3-week, I just don't understand where they're coming from, or maybe they thought people would forget about it by the time it comes out.
That seems kind of odd to me.
Yeah, but I was going to say, because if everyone's trashing on it the week of, then people might avoid it. But if you get the reviews out of the way, and then you just start pumping ads down people's throats the week that it comes out, and the ads have already been long gone. Or not ads, the reviews. Maybe it's a way of sort of sweeping those under the rug. I have no idea.
That's a novel strategy, I'll admit.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, these are the people who are pulling out of Comic-Con, right?
Right. And we'll talk about that in just a second. But you know, it's weird because, I mean, Marvel screened Captain America Civil War like super. I think they screened it last Thanksgiving. Like, you know, I mean, that's how confident they were. You know what I mean?
Right.
And rightly so in terms of the texture of the reviews, and we'll be talking about that film later in the episode too. But the fact that was screened so early and it got this really, I mean, ahead of steam under the film that arguably carried it to box office gold. Maybe Fox thought something similar, but I mean, I don't understand it. Because it's not a bad movie. It really is not. I didn't walk out of it just hating it, although I know some critics did. Some critics are like, it killed the franchise and this and that, and I'm kind of like, well, the series has been around for 16 years. I don't think one mediocre movie is going to kill it at this point.
Right.
But, you know, when it ended, I wasn't like, oh man, I can't wait to see it again. I was like, all right, well, let's see what they do in the next one.
Right.
So kind of strange. I will say this, Oscar Isaac, who plays Apocalypse, the villain, is completely miscast. like I can't think of a bigger miscasting in these movies, and I'm including Halle Berry.
Well, what do you mean? Because I've seen it said before that he's just buried under so much makeup that it could have literally been anybody.
That's very true.
Yeah, but
It could have, and I mean he's a charismatic guy, and Apocalypse is meant to be a charismatic character, but I think just the linkage between actor and character just didn't work for me.
Interesting.
You know, and then Michael Fassbender looks like he's, Michael Fassbender in this movie looks like Jessica Chastain does in The Huntsman.
Oh yeah,
Looks like he'd rather be anywhere else.
Really?
He looks bored, and they don't really give him anything to do. I was actually thinking about this. I was like, if you've got him under contract, it's not like you have to pull the trigger on that contract. Why not just keep him in reserve for one movie?
Sure.
Because I didn't see the need to have Magneto in this film. They give him some interesting stuff to do, but he doesn't mesh with this story. And I actually feel like it might have been a better film without Magneto in it.
That's interesting.
I mean, when you think about it, Magneto's been in just about every single one of these X-Men movies.
Yeah.
I think other than the X-Men Origins movie, the Wolverine solo flick, he's been in all of them. And it's like, well, he's an awesome character. I love seeing him, but we can hold off on him. I will the casting, the recasting of they recast Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Storm in this, and Nightcrawler, and they're all great. Like as the movie ends, I'm like I'd love to see these characters again. I want to that's the thing. It ended. I was like, oh okay, I want to see the next one.
Okay.
I wasn't like F this franchise.
Right.
But kind of a disappointment, especially as it is the fourth superhero film this year, the fourth of 5, I think, this year, right? Because we still have Doctor Strange.
Right.
Fourth of 6 because we have Suicide Squad. That's nuts, Brian.
That is a lot of movies.
And it definitely, after Deadpool, which kind of reinvigorated the X-Men movies, it does feel a little bit antiquated.
Antiquated. And how do you mean that? And in terms of action, in terms of it not being funny or self-aware enough? And
I'm not saying it should be self-aware. I think that the third act is just, it's what we hate, which is just a lot of CGI noise.
Right.
And I just lose interest. I lose interest when I see bridges falling and all this other shit,
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to ensure I'm not going to be interested. If like you've got buildings falling all over each other and just I'm done with that.
Yeah, totally agree.
And by the way,
someone
Brian,
I care about in that building. There you go.
Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, it's as you say, the trademark and copyright Brian Hall, the blue beam into the sky.
Well, I don't know if I can do that, but
that's it, and I bring that up every chance I get with whoever I interview, and everyone gets it. That's what I love.
Yeah,
they know exactly what I mean. So,
man, it's just amazing how many movies have done that. But anyway, yeah, I'm totally with you on that. Well, that's a bummer. I mean, I'll still check it out because Well,
and I want you to see it so that we can talk about it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll go into it with different expectations and hopefully still kind of enjoy what's presented.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Well, so as far as X-Men Apocalypse, I was mentioning how Michael Fassbender seems a little bit bored, and I think part of that might be because he was thinking of his own franchise, which is Assassin's Creed. So this is a new film based on a video game that I know exists, but that's all that I know about this game. Like, this is how out of step I feel with the young people these days.
Yeah, my brother plays this game. I'm not super familiar with it, but I know it's super popular, and I think the concept is really interesting.
See, I know nothing about it at all. So when I heard, like, people were excited about Michael Fassbender signing on to star in the film version, and that trailer just dropped today, by the way, for the Assassin's Creed film, which is directed by Justin Kurzel. Let's play some of the. What's that?
Who just did Macbeth with Michael Fassbender? I think Michael Fassbender was pretty instrumental in having this guy direct the movie.
So in other words, there's a little bit of credibility behind this film.
Yes.
That. Well, let's play some of the audio, and then you can explain to me why I should be excited about the Assassin's Creed movie.
Where am I?
At 6 p.m. yesterday evening, you were executed and pronounced dead. You no longer exist.
What kind of prison is this?
It's not a prison. You're about to enter the Animus. What you're about to see, hear, and feel are the memories of your ancestor, who's been dead for 500 years.
What do you want from me?
Your past.
All right, Brian, explain this to me.
Well, it has Jeremis Iron in it. That's pretty cool.
Jeremy's Iron.
Jeremis Iron. Alec Guinness. Genuine class. You know, like I said, I'm not super familiar with this video game. I think the concept is interesting. I guess it's about a man who can travel back in time into like his ancestors. I don't know if it's their memories or if he's actually living through them, but he's like an assassin back in like, Spain several centuries ago or something.
The Spanish Inquisition.
Oh, okay. Yes. I saw it, the trailer. I did, I swear. Several hours ago. But, I have an open mind about it. I don't think the trailer did anything that made me feel like I've got to mark it on my calendar. But, the credibility behind, the filmmaking, and I like Michael Fassbender, and I think the high concept is interesting, but I don't feel like I saw anything that left much of an impression on me. So, I'm ready to give it a shot. Didn't feel anything negative toward it. Just didn't feel anything super, nothing got its claws in me per se. What about you?
It just looked like whatever to me.
Yeah, it looked kind of like it could have been called Assassin's Creed. It could have been called something else. Could have been called something else. It's released by Fox. You know what I mean? Like it just looked. Hoping
somebody would be like, no one expects the Spanish Inquisition, like on Monty Python, if you've ever seen it.
Yeah, right. No, I'm being a little. I don't know. There was something about it that just didn't pop, and I
didn't like the rap song.
I hated the song. I don't hate Kanye West, believe it or not. I think he makes good, interesting music, but I thought it was completely. No, I really do. But like, I think it was completely. What?
I said, stop defending Kanye West.
Well,
There's
not
a
as
lot of contention between you and me.
Well, I think some of his music is interesting. Anyway, his music, that one song, I forget what it's called. Oh, damn it. What's it called? Anyway, when it was used in the Wolf of Wall Street trailer, brilliant. Mm-hmm. That was perfect. But this felt like really awkward and almost like they were trying to do something cool. They're like, this is going to friggin' blow everybody's mind. You know what I mean? Like I can just see the young guy thinking this was a great idea or something. But it was not. I remember it rubbed me really weird when I was listening to it too. I was like, this is odd. And then I thought that was interesting when I looked at all the comment sections of the trailer. I noticed everyone brought up how they did not like the song.
Yeah.
But I thought it was kind of cool. I mean, I've seen the gameplay before. A lot of it is him leaping from building to building. And I was like, oh, wow, that's actually on display in this trailer. It kind of looks like the game. That's kind of cool. Yeah, we'll wait and see. Like if this ends up being a great story, I mean, that's all that matters. Is this an interesting story? Is he an interesting character? And hard to say from the trailer, but like I said, I have an open mind about it.
Has there been a single good video game movie? Just give me one. Give me one. Give me something.
Shoot. I know it's tough because there hasn't been very many, but I know there could be. Like I'm a huge fan of Uncharted, and actually I just got Uncharted 4 this week, and I will probably play it right after this. I love those games. I love that character. I would love to see that as a movie. It is stupid that is not a movie franchise yet, because I know it could be successful and everybody would love it. I think it could have. Some people are going to go, what? But I think they might know what I mean when I say when Pirates of the Caribbean first happened, mm-hmm. and it was like, what? Like on this ride and whatever. But then it ended up being this just like kind of fun, kind of dangerous, kind of silly, kind of whatever romp. Like I feel like Uncharted has the potential to be that kind of adventure movie that appeals to everybody.
Sure.
So it's dumb that that's not a movie yet. I'm saying it.
Dummies.
Yeah, and then Last of Us. I'll say that one also. That was a video game that I was just, while I was playing that game, I was lost in that game. It was so moving and interesting. It would probably make a better mini series. But all that to say, video games these days are so different from when we were growing up. I mean, they have like these crazy narrative arcs, characters with all this depth and shade and nuances and whatnot. So there's no reason why there couldn't be a good video game movie. So I think when you try to make Super Mario Brothers into a movie, there is no story to Super Mario Brothers. You know what I mean? You're inventing something, and it's probably not sort of like, with He-Man. When I was so excited about a He-Man movie as a kid because I love He-Man, and then the He-Man movie looks nothing like He-Man. You know what I mean? It's like Super Mario Brothers look nothing like Super Mario Brothers. What were you thinking? So as long as they stick to the thing that people like, or what's already working, I don't see why it couldn't be good.
Right.
So,
well,
I'm stepping off my soapbox.
Yeah. Well, don't step off completely because we have one more trailer to discuss.
Don't get me started. I think that's going to be my catchphrase. I want a catchphrase. Don't get me started. And then we'll have canned laughter.
You should set up an Etsy store with T-shirts.
Yeah, already in preparation. Hashtag,
yeah, ready to go.
Started.
I see it as like a 70s style T-shirt with like an iron-on, picture of you.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and the lettering and everything.
The lettering would be like the
that bubbly.
Yeah. See, with the same brain,
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Sorry. Brian and I are already planning our Etsy store.
yeah. Excuse us, guys. So anyway, I'll raise the capital. Yeah.
So Inferno, this is the new Robert Langdon thriller that I don't think anybody has been demanding.
I'm going to be honest with you, Zaki. I have not seen this trailer. I didn't know we were going to talk about it tonight. I saw it was released, and I just didn't care.
Well, that's sort of emblematic of this franchise's existence, which is sort of like by hook or by crook, we will keep making these movies until somebody cares.
Right. I mean, they own them. They might as well make the money.
Why not? So this is the third film. It's based on the books by Dan Brown. And this is, again, the first Robert Langdon movie was 2006, I believe. Mm-hmm. And that was the Da Vinci Code. The second one was 2010 or some such thing, Angels and Demons. I did not see that.
Mm-hmm. I didn't see any of them.
You haven't seen Da Vinci Code, really?
Mm-mm. I heard
everybody watched that.
Well, I remember the book was super popular, and I was going to read the book, and somehow I didn't. And then the movie came out, and I heard everyone thought it was boring, so I never ended up watching it.
Yeah, I fell asleep watching the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
I was hypnotized by Tom Hanks's really spectacularly odd haircut in that film.
Yeah.
and it's a shame, actually, because when you think about it, Tom Hanks, this is his franchise. He has no other franchise.
That is a really interesting point. I've never thought about that. You're right.
This is like his character that he comes back to every couple of years.
Oh, geez, I like Tom Hanks. Now I feel bad. I feel like I need to go catch up on this.
That's my feeling on the matter. I feel like, well, I like Tom Hanks, and I like when he does stuff, and
yeah.
So the trailer for this doesn't really give anything away, but it's another one of these, like, he's running while people are after him. And,
artifacts, conspiracy.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because people have been sort of less than complimentary about Dan Brown's writing and sort of the boilerplate way that he tackles this stuff. And if you were to watch the trailers for Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons, and Inferno back to back to back, you wouldn't know which movie is which.
Oh, really?
They all just kind of blend together,
Yeah.
So anyway, that's coming soon, so we can look forward to that.
We didn't even play audio from it. Are we okay with that?
Yeah, I guess.
I
think.
I think me saying the words conspiracy and you saying Tom Hanks running, I think people get the idea.
Well, you know what? Let's play some of it.
Oh, damn it!
There's a switch. If you throw it, half the people on Earth will die. But if you don't, in 100 years, the human race will be extinct. I left you a path. The hardest one yet. Only you can finish it. You are humanity's final hope.
Okay, so there's that trailer.
There it is.
Yeah.
We were just sort of saying off mic, Tom Hanks, very interesting. He is America's sweetheart. I just made myself laugh at that. I don't know. But as of late, he's starring in these really sort of interesting movies, let's say, not necessarily like big event pictures like he normally does. Like what was the Cloud Atlas?
Sure.
Right, by the Wachowskis. And then now he's apparently, I think it's out, a Hologram for the King by
it came
Tom
out about a month ago.
Tickver. Yeah, which I don't think anyone knows what that is.
Nope.
But that's Tom Hanks. He's in 2 movies that probably most people have not seen recently.
Well, but I think that's because we're about 10 years past peak Hanks.
Yeah, I mean, that's not to say about his ability, because I think he's still got ability and he's still likable. But it seems like he's making, for someone his age and who's so beloved still, he's making pretty interesting choices. No,
and let's be very clear here. I mean, Tom Hanks is one of my all-time favorite actors, and I'm sure he is for you too.
Sure.
His presence in a film is an indication that it'll at least be worth watching.
Right.
But if we're looking at the marketplace, I mean, he's not the sure thing that he was in the sense of getting box office back. That's, and that's not, I mean, that's just an inevitable, that's the ebb and flow of being a star. He will be a star for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
He will always be Tom effing Hanks.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look, because, so Bridge of Spies was before...
Yeah, and like that did okay.
Did okay, yeah. Saving Mr. Banks, again, sort of like a soft hit, if you will. I'm sure it did okay, but I don't think it wasn't a force to be reckoned with. And there's Captain Phillips. I think that was probably the last sort of...
That's already 3 years ago. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, wow. Interesting. Yeah, then before that, Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, which I kind of forgot about.
I mean, he has the Chesley Sullenberger movie, right? Sully.
That's true. That's actually mixing next to the TV show I work on.
Is that right? And that's directed by Clint Eastwood.
Oh, dude! Oh my gosh! You saying I could bump into Clint Eastwood in the hallway?
You just might.
I'm gonna have to make that happen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tie my shoe for like an hour in the hallway and just hope that at some point he has to use the restroom.
You might see him yelling at a chair.
Yeah. Right.
But see so that's a film that, like, I, not having seen a frame of footage from it or an image or anything, I'm just like, that does not sound like a movie that would be particularly interesting to me.
Yeah, it depends. Who made that?
That's Clint Eastwood.
Oh, Clint, you just said that. For some reason I was picturing what's his name? The guy who did Captain Phillips who did it. But yeah, no, I don't know. Clint Eastwood's hit or miss, I mean, his movies are hit lately. I mean, yeah. I mean, his movies when they're good. Like, I mean, I really liked Gran Torino and obviously Unforgiven and things like that. But yeah, recently they've been a little dry.
Yeah,
but who knows?
We shall see. Well, Tom Hanks, all the best.
Yep.
We love you, Tom.
We love you, Tom. Love you, Tom.
So, Brian, real quick, let's talk some headlines.
Yeah.
So big news here is we've spent some time on this show talking about Comic-Con and how studios have very gradually been moving away from Comic-Con as being a way of showcasing their wares.
Sure.
Right? Because I know for a fact we talked about this last summer, and the latest word is that 20th Century Fox has pulled out of Comic-Con completely in terms of the big Hall H panel where they would show their big blockbusters. They're not going to be like, they'll show kind of piddly whatever movies that nobody cares about anyway. But the big stuff they're leaving out. Why? Because of fears of piracy.
So when you say piracy, it's relating to the clips that they would show. Like, they would show a trailer for maybe like a special Comic-Con trailer for Assassin's Creed that has extra footage in it. And that's for the people strictly in Hall H. But inevitably, every single year, those things always get leaked on a camera phone. Yeah,
because there's some jackleg idiot who will use their, they'll just pull it out and within, half an hour, it's there on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to happen. So it's just, are you okay with that or are you not? And Fox is making a statement that they are not. So it's interesting. I remember this related to this conversation back in like 2010 or something when Scott Pilgrim came out, and it was this enormous hit at Comic-Con, but it underperformed at the box office, and people were questioning, what does it mean to have something hit at Comic-Con? Like, does it translate into actual box office numbers? And it seems like ever since that conversation has continued. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, what would they be showing? They'd be showing Assassin's Creed, probably some early stuff from Wolverine 3. Is that even like started yet?
I think there's some very basic filming that's been going on for that, but nothing.
Okay. I mean, they could talk about Deadpool, but there's no point in that. Maze Runner, that's delayed because their star got injured. So I mean,
crazy. Yeah, indefinitely delayed.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole other story. That is kind of scary, actually.
Right.
Yeah, poor guy. But I don't know. Like, are they specifically missing out? I mean, did they say like your Warner Brothers and you still have Suicide Squad coming up? Well, it's worth it to get people even more amped up about that, right? But if you're Fox and you don't have anything for a couple months, is it, risk versus reward? Maybe
Sure.
There's, so maybe they'll be back next year when they feel like they have more reason to be there.
That makes sense.
I don't know. That's my personal opinion. I wondered if it's less of a statement and more of like what do we really got right now? Like, is it really worth it?
Well, it's kind of interesting, right? Because like Disney has already basically pulled out of Comic-Con.
Sure, because they have their own sort of D23.
Right.
events,
And when you think about it, I mean, that's kind of brilliant because it's their own convention. So people who are paying Disney to see Disney stuff. So in other words, and there's no added expense. It's like it's directing the flow of money into their pocket instead of Comic-Con's pocket.
Which makes sense when you're Disney, because Disney already has its own cult, right? Like the animation thing, but it also has Star Wars and Marvel and all sorts of crazy stuff. But I mean, if you're like Legend Pictures or something, or like,
right.
Like Warner Brothers, it's like, well, you don't have the ability to do something like that.
Well, that's why Disney owns all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't yet, they will soon.
Yeah, and that's fine.
We're all basically one acquisition away from belonging to Disney. It's pretty much inevitable.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, today a bunch of TV cancellations were announced, and I figure this overlaps with some of the stuff our audience would be interested in. A bunch of stuff, like Agent Carter got axed.
Yeah, which I have not seen, but I want to see because I've heard so many good things. Like that was something I planned on binging.
Well, now you have the chance.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right?
I mean, did you watch it?
I did. I've seen the first season. I didn't see the second one, and I thought it was fine. It was fun.
I was gonna say I wondered if it wrapped up nice enough. I always wonder that about shows that people are like, if it just gets cut off. I mean, did it end in a satisfying way, or are you just sort of left hanging?
Yeah, so I haven't seen the second season, but I would assume that there was some degree of closure with the possibility of slightly open ended.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that character. I mean, in the context of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we know that her story has to continue on.
Right.
So so you're tied in there a little bit to whatever the world outside of that show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also canceled is CSI Cyber. Now, what's of note to that is that this was the final piece of the CSI franchise.
Really?
Yeah.
That was the last CSI that was airing?
Yeah, that's right.
I had no idea.
Yeah, the Mothership show ended last year.
Huh.
And CSI Cyber was it. And that's kind of worth pointing out because remember there was a time when CSI was ubiquitous on television.
Oh yeah.
And not only that, I mean it was like a pop culture force. Like everybody talked about it, and you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's weird because it's kind of like this is the indication of how maybe pop culture in general, but really TV in particular, how what goes up inevitably comes down, and it will inevitably be that old show that is now forgotten.
Right.
And we see that because just to put this in perspective, I mean, I've been teaching for more than 10 years No. And when I started teaching, it was 2005. So it was just CSI was only 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I could make a CSI reference and, they would laugh.
Right.
And now if I refer to CSI, they're aware of it, but it's like, oh, that's an old show that we don't know anything about.
That's funny. There's actually a CSI joke on this week's episode of Bob's coming up this Sunday.
Oh, there you go. In memoriam, right?
Yeah, I guess. We didn't know.
Well, now you do. So 16 years ago, the original CSI launched, and now the final, the last man out.
I guess so. I never watched it, but c'est la vie.
CSI, by the way, it started the same season as it aired after The Fugitive, the TV remake of The Fugitive with Tim Davis.
Right.
And everyone expected The Fugitive to be this big smash, and CSI was just this whatever show. And of course, the exact opposite turned out to be true. So go figure.
Mm-hmm.
Other real quick mention, Supergirl, which is a show that I've enjoyed, and I know some of our listeners watch it. That's been canceled by CBS.
That would that began with much fanfare. I mean, that was like a huge.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was always an odd fit for CBS, which is a home of like old people shows and CSI.
Yeah.
So it seemed like an odd fit, but it's canceled by CBS. However, it's been picked up by the CW, so that will continue on.
That feels right.
That it feels like that's what should have been the case from the beginning.
Yeah, but I imagine I read somewhere that there's like an enormous licensing fee per episode. And it was just sort of, was it worth continuing to pay that for the numbers it was pulling in for CBS? So I wonder how that'll work with CW.
Yeah.
Because I mean, imagine the budget's going to go down a little bit.
Yeah, well, I read that they're going from LA to Vancouver.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I mean, I'm tired of shows that film in Vancouver.
Yeah, so are other people in Los Angeles.
Well, and in Los Angeles because it takes away jobs.
Jobs, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's something that I don't know. I mean, that's something that you guys probably deal with all the time, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in animation now, but when I was working in live action, for sure. I mean, it was like New Orleans. New Orleans is huge. So many things shoot there, and like Atlanta now is big. Yeah, it's interesting. You lose. It used to be, Los Angeles was the hub, but it's just the incentives are much more enticing a lot of other places.
It's funny. There's a great line in the pilot episode of Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. Do you remember that show?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Aaron Sorkin and Bradley Whitford plays his character as a director, and they're like, oh, this project, you should shoot it in Vancouver. And his quote, he's like, we're not shooting in Vancouver. I'm drawing the line on the insanity. Vancouver doesn't look like anything. It doesn't even look like Vancouver. It looks like Boston, California.
That's funny.
It's such a Sorkin line,
Yeah.
But regardless of that, okay, so Supergirl will continue to fly. Get it? Because she flies.
That sounded. I mean, that line totally works, but you didn't sell it. You just let it. You knew it had to happen, so you just kind of did it.
Did I fail the audition? Is that what happened?
That was really funny.
So those are our headlines. Do we have any Star Wars news, Brian?
This is kind of a big deal, actually.
Brian, cue
what?
the music.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, a little Star Wars.
I got an email, and this is from Jared, who's one of our listeners, and he asks what our Star Wars music is.
I wish you had told me ahead of time, unless you have it in front of you.
I don't, but yeah, I remembered as we were talking about this. Yeah, this is the Imperial March played in a minor key or a major key. Major key. So the original version is a minor key, so it's kind of downbeat. And all the person who did this did was flip it around so that it's in a major key, so it sounds happy and bouncy. Because we love the Imperial March, but it's kind of a downer, and Star Wars makes us happy.
It's called Vader's Redemption: The Imperial March in a Major Key.
There you go.
You can find it on YouTube. I unfortunately don't have the person who composed it, but yeah, it's a very clever Fun little ditty.
There we go. So tell us, Brian.
Okay. So when they said that Disney was going to be making Star Wars movies, they weren't just going to be continuing the Skywalker saga. No. They were going to tell Star Wars stories, and they were going to go tell prequels and this and that and origin stories. And one of them was a Han Solo origin story, which is kind of nuts because Han Solo is Harrison Ford and Harrison Ford is Han Solo, right? So then they said that Phil Lord and Chris Miller were going to be helming this movie, and I was like, oh, well, they take ideas that sound like terrible ideas and make great movies. So now the only thing that we need to do, so the story's probably going to be pretty cool, but who's going to play Han Solo? Who's that?
Well, it's a fellow with a very unique name.
Alden
Ehrenreich.
Alden Ehrenreich. And he was, or has recently been seen in the Coen Brothers movie Hail Caesar. And I know nothing about that movie except that there's some hilarious scene that everybody loves that features this actor. So he obviously made quite the impression. And he was announced he is going to be playing Han Solo in this Star Wars spin-off story. And it comes out May 25th, 2018. So it's relatively not that far off. You Google this guy and you look him up. I'm like, he kind of reminds me of DiCaprio in a weird sort of way. He's got dark curly hair, but his facial features remind me of DiCaprio. But hey, you know what? Anytime they announce an actor playing some sort of role and I can't see it, once they do the person up, put him in the costume, put the makeup on, shoot him the way that they intend for him to be seen, you're always like, oh, yeah, I see what they're doing. So this will be really interesting. Han Solo played by a different person.
The only thing I want from this movie is to not be obnoxiously in your face with like all of the momentous moments, like all of the sort of the stuff that you have to scratch off the checklist for him to become Han Solo. You know what I mean?
Do you imagine this will be about the Kessel Run?
Like, see, okay, I don't want, we're gonna see the Kessel Run. You just know it,
Probably. Which kind of sucks because it's a fun thing that I don't know what it is, but it keeps getting referenced.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I don't know, what's an example? Like, they do this all the time where it's like they show us something that's only been, like you said, it's only been referenced and you see it, you're like, okay,
What about Star Trek and the Kobayashi Maru?
Okay, good. Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking. Thank you.
Yeah.
The Kobayashi Maru test is mentioned in The Wrath of Khan, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Again, it's an important piece of texture, but when we finally see it depicted in the 2009 movie, which I don't dislike, by the way, I don't dislike the movie, but I do dislike the way it shows that test.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just goofy, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Because our imagination is more powerful.
Yeah, and it's fun to have this mythology or something, like these sort of legends with these characters. And, the Kessel Run, we know that it's referenced in the original trilogy, and then having that be a little callback in The Force Awakens,
right.
Where Rey says something about him doing the Kessel Run, and I forget what she says the wrong
14.
number. And, 14, and he's like 12.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's it. But we know what that is. We don't know what it is, but we know what it is, and it means something to him. And it's like a cute, fun little thing. But to actually have it dramatized, it's like, I don't know that I want to picture it.
Yeah,
someone's interpretation of what that is.
The momentous moment when he first puts on that black vest. I don't want that.
Yeah. That said, I want to ask you, because I know that Last Crusade is your favorite Indiana Jones movie. How do you feel about that opening 10 minutes where Indiana Jones gets all of his trademark iconography?
But it's almost like a joke, and so you roll with it, right?
Yeah, and I bring this up because I know it does bother some people.
It bothers some people. So part of the reason it doesn't bother me is because I was 10 when I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
So the cake got baked a while ago, and I'm sure the same thing is the case for you.
Yeah, I happen to like it. Yeah,
so for me, it's like I look at it. In the context of the film, it's played kind of farcically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are the odds that all of this would happen in like the same half hour or whatever,
Right.
Like, because that really is just down the checklist. Oh, there's his fear of snakes, and there's the scar on his chin, and there's the whip, and there's the hat, and hey, he's Indiana Jones. You know, like, it's a joke. I mean, do you want to see a Han Solo movie like that?
Not necessarily, because I don't know that that's the correct tone for that.
That's right. So exactly.
But I'm open-minded about it because it's gonna happen. That's the thing. Like there's no.
You and I are on the same page as far as that goes. Where it's just like, well, it doesn't matter what we have to say.
Yeah. So just make it good.
Well, and not just that, Brian. I mean, obviously there is the like you mentioned, like Harrison Ford is Han Solo, etc. Right? But I mean, it's not like Star Wars has had bad luck recasting younger versions of its iconic characters.
Sure. You were being sarcastic.
I actually wasn't. I was thinking about Ewan McGregor, but then as I was saying that, I was like, well, there is Hayden Christensen.
Well, I did the exact same thing. That's why I went with you for a second, and then I thought you were being sarcastic.
But to be fair, we never actually saw Anakin fully. No, we did, because we saw okay, well, then they have like a 50-50, the odds are 50-50.
This is a new thing.
It worked out with Obi-Wan. Let's hope it's an Obi-Wan situation. Yeah. There we go. All right, Brian. Well, we don't know whether recasting Han Solo will spoil that character, but what we are definitely going to do is spoil Captain America: Civil War.
And how?
So let's do our non-spoiler reaction to Marvel's latest blockbuster. This opened to $180 million domestically, which is, by the way, the 5th biggest opening weekend of all time.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So number 1 is Star Wars. Number 2 is Jurassic World. Number 3 is Avengers. Number 4 is Number 4 is Avengers 2. Number 5 is Captain America: Civil War.
Go Marvel. Jeez.
And number 6 is Iron Man 3. So
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's amazing. I didn't know that Marvel basically owned.
It's kind of extraordinary. I mean, Marvel has 4 of the top 6 slots, and Disney / Marvel has 5 of the 6 top slots.
That's amazing. Wow.
It really is. And just to give a sense of how skewed sort of reporting has gotten, the fact that Captain America: Civil War did not open at over 200 million was construed by some as a sign that, well, clearly the death knell has been sounded and the Marvel Studios machine is now hopelessly crippled. This is come on, folks. Let's be. I mean, that's just come on.
That's the curse of a 24-hour news cycle.
It really is. Yeah. So this is another massive hit that's not only doing very well, but it's extremely well received critically. It's at 90+% right now on Rotten Tomatoes, which makes it among the very top tier of Marvel Studios films.
Wow.
Now, this arrives mere weeks after the very, very similar Batman vs. Superman, so I have a feeling some contrasts and comparison will emerge in our conversation. That does not mean we are on Disney's payroll, you assholes who keep sending me hate mail.
Really?
Yeah, still to this day, I'm getting hate mail from people who are convinced that I'm driving a Porsche on Disney's dime.
Man, who are these people?
It's friggin' bizarre. It really is.
Huh.
I've said this elsewhere. I get hate mail when I give bad reviews to like anti-Muslim films. And DC Comics movies, specifically DC Comics. So DC Comics fanboys and anti-Muslim idiots. Those are the people who send me hate
You're the
mail.
only one that didn't think favorably of Batman v Superman.
I am literally the only one. Again, yeah. I'm the one voice in the wilderness, clearly, right?
Right.
Okay, so we have not talked about this at all. Zero.
No, zero, none.
And we're very late recording this episode, so it's there's a lot of pent up pressure to know what you think, Brian. What did you think of this movie?
I really enjoyed it.
Hey, all right.
Hey,
the show gets to continue.
I had this thought, and I'll try to put this into context because I've seen this all over the map. A lot of people just gushing over this movie. I mean, this isn't a movie I walked out like gushing about, but like I just really really loved it. Like, it's just really fun. And I decided that this is kind of how I feel about the Marvel movies now. Marvel movies to me feel like a great television show, because and I say that because there's so many of them. And it's starting to get like, say, like Lost. When Lost, pick like the best season of Lost, right? And it's just like I am going to watch every single one of them. I like some more than others, even though I tend to like almost all of them. And I don't tend to revisit them. Like I watch them and then I'm ready for the next one. And if I catch on TV, like say like a great rerun of a show I like, I'll watch it, maybe get caught up in it. But I just kind of I'm almost in real time with these movies as they go along. But I'm watching what I feel like is a TV show that's just kind of on fire. And each episode is just one that I really enjoy watching, and I walk out satisfied, and I'm just ready for the next one. So what I mean by that is I've heard people like, oh, I'm going to go catch this multiple times in the theater. Like, I don't think I'm going to do that. I'll probably see it again, maybe on Blu-ray or something. But like, I just enjoyed it. I just like walking into something that it's not too deep, but it also does care enough about its story to have one, and try to make one that affects its characters and its characters are affected by. And it also, by nature being a superhero movie, has a ton of action in it, and the action is well thought out. It tries to be inventive. It actually takes advantage of each of the characters' special powers or abilities and comes up with continuous creative ways to showcase them. Like, it's just a cool, fun movie. And I really dug it.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Shall we delve into some spoilers?
Oh, yeah. You don't want to? No? Okay, let's do it.
Well, I mean, I liked it. I agree with everything you just said.
Okay.
Not much I need to say beyond that. You can read my review.
All right, well, let's go.
Let's count down to spoilers.
Spoilers.
Wow. That was impressive, Brian.
Thank you.
You've been holding out on us.
I don't do that often. I don't. But okay, well, you kind of said you agree with what I said, but I want to hear some more now that we're behind the spoiler wall. Let's hear your thoughts on Captain America. Let's hear it.
So it's funny because you said that after it ended, you were like, I'll just watch it whenever. I was like, man, I can't wait to see it again.
See, that's funny because I do want to see it again, but I know that I'm probably not going to rush out like I did for like Star Wars or something.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And that's
right.
That's just kind of my relationship with the Marvel films.
So for me, what I love about the Marvel films is it's a thing that I do with my boys.
See, that's cool. Yeah, that's great. And that's great after the whole, and this isn't going to be a whole Batman clown fest, but like,
we will try not to bash that too incessantly. However, comparisons cannot help but be warranted.
Absolutely. And I was going to say that it is cool that these movies exist that you can enjoy with your boys.
Yeah. And that's really, I mean, I saw it before I watched it with them because I had to do my review, but I feel like the Marvel Studios label is something where I can trust that label to give me something family friendly.
Yeah, but they don't dumb it down. No. I mean, especially Winter Soldier felt like a really sort of high-minded sort of not like thriller. And this one also, like it tries to have a cool, coherent plot, right? But it can also just be enjoyed as a romp if you want.
Well, and I mean, you know what I liked about it is that it really rewards watching this entire cinematic universe from the beginning, because it pays off stuff that's been building up since Iron Man in 2008.
Right.
And, the arc as far as Tony Stark's parents.
Right.
I mean, I think it really works, and it culminates in a way that's surprisingly emotional and surprisingly poignant.
Yeah, I was really impressed. I mean, this is called Captain America, but really this is an Avengers movie.
Kind of like Avengers 0.5 kind of, it's like a midway point, Yeah,
I mean, almost everyone is involved. But like you said, I mean, I really feel like I understand Tony Stark, and the movie begins with him being confronted after giving this, keynote speech sort of thing and everybody applauding him, he goes down into the basement and this woman confronts him because the Avengers' actions in a previous film led to the death of her son, on accident, of course, but he was just part of the collateral damage. And I didn't know, that was a surprise what her whole role was going to be. And when she pulled that out on him, I was like, you don't think about that. Like when you're watching your fun action film and everything's blowing up, this movie's acknowledging that innocent people got caught up in that. Like people died. And even though the Avengers were out for the greater good, there is, like I said, collateral damage. And I totally believed what Robert Downey Jr. was doing with the character, that he, because he's such a cocksure guy and, he accidentally invented Ultron and whatnot. But right. I completely bought his guilt over this thing and why he sincerely felt like we've got to be put in check. Like,
well, and here's what's so interesting is the film presents us with an ideological struggle where you can legitimately see both points of view.
Yep.
And agree with what both points of view are.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I was thinking about this, right? Because what makes the Civil War of the title so effective is that it's a war none of them wants to be fighting.
Right.
So we get to this, the showpiece action sequence in the film is in Act 2, where you have the two factions just going at it at the Leipzig airport in Germany. Mm-hmm. And they're pulling their punches. They're like, don't make me do this. I don't want to do this. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't help but contrast that and how much more effective that was than with, in Batman versus Superman. Here's Batman with his kryptonite spear and he's like jabbing it in Superman's cheek and he's like, F you, you MFer. And,
yeah, you might as well have been. Yeah.
I mean, it's like the notion that these are friends who don't want to be doing this.
Right.
That's something because we as fans and friends of these characters are like, come on, guys, like, don't do this. Mm-hmm. Because we've had 8 years now of building up our affinity for them all.
Yeah. And I like that those things have carried over. Like I wrote a couple of these down because I didn't want to forget it, but I loved the moment with Black Widow at the church.
Yeah.
Meeting up with Captain America, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And she's like, "Well, I didn't want you to be alone."
Right. And
it reminded me that they had that whole sort of adventure together in Winter Soldier. Like they have a relationship,
right?
They have a friendship, and it was that little moment resonated because of it. And I was like, "What a nice little moment," And it like these people do have true relationships, and with each other. And also, when you have Paul Rudd as Ant-Man meeting Captain America for the first time and sort of fanboying out, and
right.
There's people he knows and people he doesn't know. And it's like, they feel like real people going through these things,
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I think that because it's in the first Iron Man, Tony Stark comes back from Afghanistan. And, that's when he decides I'm not going to be manufacturing arms anymore. And if you remember that, I don't know, when's the last time you saw Iron Man?
Yeah, I remember it. It's been a couple of years, but
yeah,
I remember it pretty well.
He has the press conference.
Yeah.
And he says, like in passing, he's like, I never said goodbye to my dad. I never got to, like, the idea of like this open wound. Right.
Right.
And I love the fact that here we are 8 years later and we're paying off that moment.
Right.
And again, it's this, we've allowed it to build up. I mean, we're kind of jumping all over the place here, but I think, that's fine because that's how we do things. But when Act 3 of the film is not this megalomaniacal supervillain or whatever, right?
Right.
I loved that. I love the fact that it subverted expectations. So the big action piece is right smack in the middle. And then from there, the climax is basically three people just going at it.
Right.
And that's very much a subversion of not only the genre in general, but these Marvel films in particular, which are very much slaves to a specific kind of formula.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, and let's talk about that fight. I mean, at the airport. I mean, that was a blast. I mean, it was. I was impressed how much it managed to be fun, but it also managed to not lose sight of the fact that these are people at odds, right?
Right.
Because you got Spider-Man jumping around and saying funny things and whatnot, but then moments later, you have like War Machine falling out of the sky, right? And that was like really heavy.
Yeah.
So it's like you're almost starting to have fun watching this mayhem, but at the same time, it reminds you that there are consequences.
Yeah, and I think what's helpful here is that despite the sort of cuckoo bananas nature of the fight, which is all of these people in costumes and crazy powers, and they're doing all kinds of stuff, it felt scaled down.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it was a relatively sedate fight given what we've come to expect from these kinds of movies.
Because it was in one location and they were only using the things available to them. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Instead of like using a city as their stomping ground.
That's exactly right. And I mean, obviously you have your oh shit moments, the giant man sequence.
Yeah. Yeah, which is fun.
Which is great. And then and of course it leads to one of the best lines in the films where Spider-Man is like, "Hey, have you guys seen that really old movie, The Empire Strikes Back?"
Yeah. Like, how old is this kid?
Yeah. and again, my kids, their favorite parts of the movie were Ant-Man and Spider-Man.
Yeah, funny. I really enjoyed Spider-Man.
That's fantastic. And you're a noted Spider-Man skeptic.
This is true. And I noticed I was really enjoying when he was there, and when he was absent immediately after, I missed him.
Right.
Yeah, like the energy and enthusiasm that character brought to each moment. I'm totally looking forward to his solo movie now.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing some more of Aunt May.
Yeah, I love that how Robert Downey Jr. kept talking about his unusually hot aunt.
I love how, like, in the comic books, Aunt May is like this 800-year-old crone. She's like I think Uncle Ben is the crypt keeper, basically. and then in the film now we have, Marissa Tomei, who is most assuredly not an 800-year-old crone.
Right.
It's very funny.
I did wonder, and maybe you can help me with this. Why did Tony Stark reach out to Spider-Man? Like, it seems sort of reckless to involve this 17-year-old boy in this death match.
So what's funny is when I went back the second time, I actually went through specifically to find weaknesses in the plot, holes in the plot.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say it holds together remarkably well. They actually did a very good job of making this about as airtight as you could want from a movie like this.
Mm-hmm.
With one glaring exception, which we've collectively agreed not to give a shit about, and that's Spider-Man being in this movie.
Right.
Because Tony Stark in the film, we have the two factions. We have the registration side and the anti-registration side. Well, Tony Stark essentially recruiting this child, this high school freshman, to go and get tossed around by Captain America and whatnot. Well, that's everything that the Accords are supposed to prevent from happening.
Right.
So in other words, we're like, it's like the audience has sort of tacitly agreed, well, this is about introducing Spider-Man into the universe. So shh. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Because really it makes no sense.
Yeah. Okay, good. I was afraid I missed something.
No, but other than that, I have to say, I think the whole thing actually works very well.
Oh, totally. I totally agree.
And one thing I really liked was the villain's motivation. It's Zemo. So in the comics, there's a character called Baron Zemo.
Mm-hmm.
Who this character, it's like name only kind of, it really doesn't have anything to do with the version of the comics.
Mm.
But we're sort of led to think that he has designs on unleashing this swarm of super soldiers into the world and wreaking havoc or whatever. And that's kind of a MacGuffin.
Mm-hmm.
Because his goal is not that, his goal is, no, I'm going to bring down the Avengers from the inside.
Right.
And I really like how it led up to that. And I really like how his arc played out and resolved itself. We haven't even mentioned, by the way, Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, who I think walked away with this movie.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see with him and Spider-Man, right? Like sort of getting thrust into the action and then knowing that they're going to have their own full-scale adventures coming up. I'm really curious what those, I imagine, obviously Spider-Man and the Black Panther movie are going to look very different. So I'm curious what that's going to be like.
Yeah, and I think this is actually the first time in the MCU where they've done this, where they plant the character and then do the movie after.
Right.
So
yeah, because his origin is like in this movie.
In essence, yeah.
Yeah. Losing his father, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, it's like the Batman versus Superman. The comparison, by the way, is beyond just superficial in that they're superhero movies. I mean, this is like, it's like a film school assignment. Like, here, I need you all to go out and make a short film. It needs to include this, and this. That's like the prompt for this.
right.
And it's like there should be a destructive event that massive loss of life that causes distrust for superheroes. There should be two factions of superheroes that are at odds with each other. There should be a villain behind the scenes manipulating things. Now go off and you've got 2 weeks to make your project. Like that's what it's like.
Yeah.
And so you look at these two, and I mean, you same thing in Batman versus Superman. You have these nested spin-offs.
Yeah.
And yet in that film, they feel very transparently like trailers for upcoming films.
Right.
Where you have like Ben Affleck opening AVI files that, watching trailers for future movies on his computer,
Man, I kind of forgot about that. You're right. I mean, but this movie found such a great way in like the same running time to include these people, but also give them the freedom to go off and do their own thing later.
Right.
Or tie them back in. But yeah, Batman v Superman. I mean, it just didn't, like you've said earlier, like it didn't have the benefit of having so much come before it. So they had to do that with everybody. We had to do it with the Batman in a way. You know what I mean? But in this movie, all our leads have been clearly established and there's room to introduce a few more people.
Yeah, and I think with that point, I mean, first of all, we're talking about Black Panther. I mean, the faith that I had that Chadwick Boseman was the perfect choice was completely borne out. And I always say this. I watched 42 back into 2013, and I was like, in the back of my mind, I was just like, man, I could see him as Black Panther. And it was just a thought because he wasn't even being mentioned, and it's not like that movie was in serious development at that point.
Wow, so that's funny.
When I heard he was cast, I was like, oh, I'm glad Marvel was monitoring my brainwaves at that exact moment.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's terrific. He just embodies such nobility, in his bearing. And he has that great line at the end where right when Zemo is about to kill himself, he stops him and he says, "The living aren't done with you yet."
Right.
I mean, it's great. It just, I think that, to me, there was just this undercurrent of emotion, the anguish on Tony Stark's face when he watches the video of what happened to his parents.
Mm-hmm. And
you see the realization click in of what it is he's seeing.
Right.
I mean, it did the trick for me, man. I was like this. I mean, it was powerful, and that at the end, him and Cap, they're fighting, right? And Cap pins him to the ground, and Cap like holds up his shield like in both hands, like he's about to bring it down.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And Tony covers his face. And there's just something about like he thought he was going to kill him.
Right.
And it maybe I'm not describing it in the right way, but there was just something about that moment where I'm just like, I mean, it breaks your heart,
See, now you're making me want to watch it again. I definitely enjoyed it, and I took it all in. But I'm sure there's like a lot more that I would notice a second
Yeah, I
time
mean,
around.
he tells him, he's like, that you don't deserve that shield. That my father made that shield. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's you like for me, it's like as an experience, it was really fulfilling. But you're like, man, I want to see what happens next.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like you're saying, I mean, that it is like a TV series in that sense,
Yeah.
And it's funny because I've said to you on this show before that the movies I'm least looking forward to are Infinity War.
Yeah. Right.
And after this, that's no longer the case.
Right. Right.
And it's because I know the Russos are involved. I know McFeely and whoever the other guy is. It's all the same people. So in the same way, I'm looking at Justice League and I'm like, well, shit, I know what this is going to be, and I can't bring myself to care because it's all the same people. This, it's like, hey, I can't wait because it's all the same people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, and did you hear, by the way, that Infinity Wars, plural?
I think it was going to be Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2, but I think what they've said is they're going to rename it so that they have a different title.
Yeah, I was going to say that because I thought they decided that they didn't want to split a story in half any longer. Like, it's actually going to be two separate movies now, but they're going to keep the dates and keep it both Avengers movies, but they're going to not split it up a la like Harry Potter 7 and 8 or whatever.
Well, my understanding is that their contention was from the beginning it was going to be in essence two different stories.
I see.
And so they felt like they had always viewed Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2 as like a placeholder title.
Oh, I see. Got it.
But I mean, I might have misinterpreted, but that was my sense from reading. These guys are very, very smart, the Russos.
Yeah.
I mean, just their approach to this material is it's clear they have their own vision, but they also know how to function within sort of the overall edifice of Marvel Studios.
Yeah, completely agree. And I just feel, I've said it already, but I just really enjoyed the action in this. I just felt like just when you have so much action in one film, it can start to feel repetitive.
Right.
And I think for having so many characters that they're juggling and they have all these different abilities, like even at the beginning, when Black Widow is running through that marketplace and she's climbing all over these people and throwing them down with her legs and juggling, like that's what she does, right? And that was really cool and fun. And then later Spider-Man's using his web in clever ways to bring people down. And then, Ant-Man is able to shrink down and go inside Iron Man's armor. Like they kept coming up with clever ways to capitalize on what they're able to do in fun ways. And I never got tired of the action. And I think that's a huge deal. You know, like when you look at like Man of Steel, which I do like Man of Steel. I mean, when it comes down to it, I do like it. But at the end, we bring it up a lot, is that ending you just become numb to it.
Yeah.
It's like the action, the punching, the explosion, like none of it is just like whatever. You know what I mean? But in this one, I thought they did a good job of, like I say, capitalizing on their specialties, but also we care about the proceedings, right? So, yeah, I mean, and they can juggle a great story, and they have all this like really fun, big bombastic humor, but they also got the subtle humor, like that whole moment where Captain and those what's his name, Bucky and Falcon are in that car, and they see them kiss the girl, and they're like nodding like a little bit, and like what I mean, like that's such like a small little joke, but it gets a huge laugh because it's so you're in it, like you're with those dudes, so it's like that moment is funny because you're with them. And it's and when you think everybody
about
can do that.
The what this film does so well, and partially it's because of having, this is number 9 or 10 or whatever in these movies, so it's got this history. But you have a clear sense who each and every one of the main characters are. Yeah, like the Vision. You can describe his personality. Scarlet Witch, you can tell me something about her. Every single one of them. Yeah. From Hawkeye to Falcon. I mean, it's a very rich universe, and it doesn't feel overstuffed, and it knows how to play these characters. I mean when you think about it, the big airport sequence, that's basically the exit point for almost all of those characters in the film.
Mm-hmm.
But it's moving at such a quick pace that we're not like, hey, where'd everybody go? Like, because it just keeps you plugged in.
Right.
And the other thing is, we've got William Hurt in there as General Ross, who is, he was the character in The Incredible Hulk. And I mentioned to a friend how they didn't need to do that. Like, that could have been anybody.
Yeah, right.
But it's this little thing in there that, like, if you've watched the films, here's a cool bit of added texture and history in this universe,
Right.
So real happy with Civil War, and it's already pegged to be the top live action film of the summer. They're saying it's probably going to land somewhere north of $400 million.
Wow.
Domestically, yeah. Another $1 billion hit for the Marvel machine. I mean, these guys, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think everyone's kind of waiting for their first flop.
Right.
Because once you have this much sustained success, Schadenfreude kicks in a little bit.
Sure. Well, it's funny because, I mean, I've said this a million times on here regarding the Marvel movies, but my dad's the barometer for me. I mean, my dad doesn't watch movies like this, but he loves these movies. And he even, before, I don't even think he knew I was going to see it the night that I saw it, but the week that I was going, he actually, over the phone was like, hey, are you going to see Captain America? He's like, you gotta tell me how it is. And I'm looking forward to seeing it. And I'm like, I'm like, what? Like, I mean, you got my dad, like, you got everybody.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
So still doing something right.
Well, I mean, when we look at what Marvel's doing, and then we contrast it with the Fox Marvel properties, and obviously with Disney, and you kind of see why everyone's trying to catch up. I mean, Fox is still trying to do a Fantastic Four sequel.
Well, and why wouldn't they? Right? They own it.
I mean,
I'm
looking at an interview with Simon Kinberg where he says, "Oh yeah, we want to bring back the cast and do a sequel." It's like, guys, I think the verdict is in on whether people want to see more of that property.
I feel bad for those actors. Like in that scenario, right? You're in this movie and
you're locked in, you're stuck.
You're stuck. They have to make it, right? And so they have to endure what's going to be a lot of people probably giving that movie a heck of a hard time before even a script is written, whether or not it's any good. It's just, but again, I mean, Fox has to do it unless they lose it.
Do you have some insight into this? Like, we all know, I mean, for any of these major franchise drop properties, actors sign a contract that includes however many sequel options, right? How much power does an actor have to push back against that and get out of a sequel option?
I don't think much because I know that's why Jennifer Garner did Elektra.
Sure, and she didn't want to do that.
No, and also Emily Blunt. She's supposed to be Black Widow, but she was contractually obliged to Fox for some movie, so that she could not get out of.
Because we do hear of it happening where actors are like they get out of their sequel contracts.
I'm certain that does happen, but I know there's even one of the most famous stories was what was that? Was it Kim Basinger? She wanted out of like Boxing Helena.
Oh, and she got sued for that.
Yeah, she got sued, and I think she even paid it because she's like, "Screw it, I don't want to be in this movie."
Yeah, and it was Sherilyn Fenn, I think, ended up being in that movie.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know
because I'm thinking like, say you're Michael B. Jordan,
right?
You don't want to touch this sequel with a 10-meter cattle prod.
It's a waste of your time.
Yeah,
I mean, there's other things you could be doing.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan, by the way, I don't know if you read this. His next project is a remake of the Thomas Crown Affair.
Interesting.
Directed by the Russo brothers.
Shut up.
Yeah. I want to see that movie.
I do now.
Right?
If you just sort of mentioned to me, I would be like, remaking Thomas Crown. But yeah, okay. Curious.
Right? So potentially, you're Michael B. Jordan, and you're like, I got this ready to go, Russo brothers, and then Fox is like, hold on there, pump your brakes there, Ace.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, that's like a good probably 4 months of you missing out on something.
See, and I mean I'm wondering how actors can exercise leverage to get out of sequels that they absolutely. I mean, you know what? Val Kilmer's a good example. He was contracted to do Batman, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he got out of it.
That was his choice.
Yeah, because he pushed back because he didn't want, and that's why the original plan was for him to return. I don't think they fired him.
Interesting. So maybe it has something to do with making a deal with a studio, and it's like, okay, well, I don't want to do this thing, but I'll do something else for you, or
Maybe.
who knows? I don't know.
It's something like that. I don't know. Anyway, I was just curious because you would be one to know.
Yeah, because I know some stories where people have not gotten out of them, so I don't know why some people, how that works, where they would.
Yeah. Well, that's going to have to be a conversation for another time, I guess. Do we have any final thoughts about Captain America: Civil War?
No, just that it's fun, and if you haven't seen it, I'm sure you'll probably enjoy it. Go check it out.
I've seen it twice now, and I would absolutely be down for a third viewing in the theaters. So make of that what you will.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that because Disney has been giving me a chance. Just to be very clear. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap things up. Brian, anything you want to hype up for us right now?
Yeah, just like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I'm writing for the Bob's Burgers comic book, and the current issue out right now, May, 2016, is I have a story in there. It's part 2. Part 1 was in last month, so you can check that out also. And I'm really, really happy about it. So feel free to check that out. And
anything else?
No, that's it.
Okie dokie.
Is there something I'm forgetting?
No. I was just making sure. I'm being thorough, Brian.
Oh, I appreciate it.
As far as me, you can find my movie reviews online. I just posted my Money Monster review today, and today's Thursday, the 12th. Tomorrow's Friday the 13th, Brian.
Oh, didn't even realize.
I don't me either. So by the time you're listening to this, you'll be able to see my Money Monster review. And next week, we have The Nice Guys coming out, so you can look at a review of that. Very much looking forward to that, and we will be discussing that in depth on our next episode. In addition to that, you can find me on Twitter at Zaki's Corner, ZAKI's Corner. It's also my website, zakiscorner.com. Also, go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/MovieFilm Podcast. Also, go to iTunes, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio. Leave us a star rating, leave us a review, let us know how we're doing. Every little bit helps, even if it's just one word, good. That's all you need, because it's the numbers that matter. So please do feel free to do that. And with that, we will be back in 2 weeks. Brian, what are we talking about in 2 weeks?
Well, Nice Guys for sure.
Yes.
I don't know what else. What other?
Well, we got X-Men. No, that would be in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We'll have some good stuff.
Oh yeah.
It'll be good.
Trust us.
It'll all be good. Have we ever let you down? Don't answer that. But on behalf of my colleague Brian Hall, my name is Zaki Hassan. This has been episode 94 of the Movie Film Podcast as we race towards episode 100. Thanks for listening.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zaki and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.